Exchange rate gap widens as naira falls to 1,060 naira to a dollar. Federal government targets 21% inflation rate and crude oil production level of 1.78 million barrels per day. Asian markets mix after stronger than expected China data. Oil spikes as hospital blast amplifies Middle East tensions. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. Now let's bring you up to speed with business development. Nigeria's strategic partnership with China needs to be scaled up as it remains key to Africa's development. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who is representing President Tinubu at the ongoing Belt and Road Initiative Forum in Beijing, China, stated this when he was hosted by his People's Republic of China counterpart, Vice President Heng Zheng, at the State Guest House, Beijing.
It is the largest economy in Africa and the most populous country in the African continent. The Belt and Road Initiative is a beautiful concept geared towards South-South cooperation and peaceful global development anchored on China's virtue of peace and development across the world.
Now, as some Nigerians continue to seek cheaper air tickets by connecting to the world through neighboring countries, experts speak on possible ways of reducing airfare.
Nigerians love to travel, Nigerians love to fly, and then if there are so many demands for tickets, the airlines will naturally close the buckets that are lower and open the upper buckets. So that is the reason why the tickets in Nigeria are more expensive. And of course, coupled with the fact that the airlines could not repatriate their money from Nigeria, and of course the floating of the Naira policy that put Naira about 1,000 Naira to a dollar. That also contributes to the expensive tickets out of Nigeria. But most importantly is demand and supply. There is a lot of demands for tickets in Nigeria, and the airlines decide to be closing the buckets. In fact, it's automatic. When we see that the buckets, lower buckets, are being filled up quickly, it closes and the upper one comes, and the upper one comes till the tickets becomes very expensive. But I believe if there is a lot of supply for the seats, the supply and the demand will meet, and then the ticket prices will come down.
Well, the exchange rate gap between the official and parallel market segments of the foreign exchange market has widened by over 100% as Naira depreciated across markets on Tuesday. Yesterday, Tuesday, the spread between the official and unofficial FX markets closed at 212 Naira per dollar compared to the 1 Naira 83 kobo on June 22nd, 2023, after FX reform. Dollar was quoted at 848.12 kobo. The investors and exporters Forex window at 1,060 Naira per dollar at the parallel market on Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. On Tuesday, June 21st, 2023, the Naira dollar exchange rate converged closing at the rate of 756 naira at both markets after the unification of the FX windows in the same month by the Central Bank of Nigeria. During the FX auction on Tuesday, willing buyers and willing sellers offered the highest bid of 981 naira to $1 and lower bid of 700 naira to $1. Data from the FMDQ indicated the daily foreign exchange market turnover increased by 211.62% to $134.28 $134.28, well, rather $134.28 million. Now, the recent move by the Central Bank of Nigeria to lift Forex ban on 43 items continue to generate public reactions. The restriction on these 43 items was aimed at somehow reducing foreign exchange demand for products that could be locally produced, improve employment generation, and conserve foreign reserve. Our conversation takes off from here, and joining me is an economic analyst, Chijoke Kiku. You're welcome to our Business Express.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Okay, as at yesterday, the Naira sold at around 1,060 Naira to, from 1,060 Naira to almost like 1,065 Naira to $1 at the parallel markets, and 848 Naira 12 kobo at investors and exporters Forex window. Should we be concerned with the way the Forex market is heading to?
Every Nigerian is concerned about this, and we should all be concerned because this is not the Nigeria that we used to know. For us to have this kind of exchange rate is putting us in a light of economic issues, in light of economic problems. And people are asking question, why is this almost having a free fall? Why is Naira having this kind of free fall? And we need to do everything within our powers to reverse this kind of trend.
Okay, what do you make of the move? Now let's talk about the recent lifting of the 43 items. What do you make of the move by the central bank to lift the ban on the 43 items?
First of all, I believe that lifting the ban is not going to worsen the matter, honestly, because first of all, the time we banned these items, we were violating the trade agreements that were signed by Nigeria with other parts of the world. You know, there are many trade agreements signed, the ECOWAS treaty and the AFCTA and all that. And so you cannot approbate and reprobate. You cannot say we are part of this and everybody should just buy from the same continent and you go ahead to ban some items. However, I'm sure we also know that the banning did not ban the items from coming to the country, just that they were banned from using official foreign exchange from government. So if that was the case, I don't see the impact, so much impact, because all the people who were supposed to also bid from CBN, through their banks, through the CBN, to import all these things, we're still going to the parallel market to purchase. So it did not reduce anything, it didn't change anything. So we need to concentrate on making sure that the revenue base of the country increases, because if we have enough revenue base, we are going to accommodate everybody, and I don't think the impact is going to be much on us.
But this will definitely affect the revenue base, because we are talking about 43 items here, and one of the reasons is to boost our local capacity to produce those items. Definitely.
Yes, the revenue base I'm also talking about here is the fact that Nigeria has potentials to generate more revenue in foreign currency, more revenue which we are not doing. We are just still dependent on the same oil. We can actually generate far more than we're generating today by making sure that we deal with the issues around the oil industry, the insecurity in the oil industry, the pilferages in the oil industry, and also make sure that our solid minerals industry are developed. You know, so we need to take that area so seriously and develop our solid minerals the way we have developed our oil sector in order for us to start generating good revenue from there. We are not harnessing that area, and we need to take that place seriously. There are other revenue areas we can actually generate. Okay. What I'm trying to say, actually, is the fact that, yes, more items are going to, more people are going to be bidding through the CBN, and then that will affect the local manufacturing, and that will affect the local capacity. But don't also forget that the local capacity is not enough to meet the demand. So because we're not able to meet the local demand and even whatever thing we need from locally, you see that it affects the pricing. It affects the price because the demand is actually always more than the supply. Let's even take, for example, palm oil. There is no palm oil we produce in this country that will be enough for the local consumption or the local productivity that we need. So there's always need to import palm oil for now because we're not producing enough of it. So we need to open the markets for us to actually be a free market economy, just like we claim to be.
Okay, one of the reasons the CBN said for the decision is that monetary policy tools can now become more effective. What's your thought on that?
I have always been an advocate of the fact that we cannot use monetary policy tools all the time because a lot of things that are affecting our inflation rate, affecting the exchange rate, are not actually coming from the monetary policy area. A lot are coming from the trade policy. A lot are coming from the fiscal area. So we need to, of course, there's nothing the CBN can do around the monetary policy that can improve on the pricing that has been caused by the petroleum pricing, or that can come from the insecurity we have in the country. And we know that these are things that are affecting us. Petroleum pricing is a major factor that is affecting the inflation rate and even the exchange rate. So if we really need to build our capacity in terms of pricing, and we need to generate more revenue in foreign currency, we need to deal with our refineries. You know, I have never seen a situation where getting our refineries to work, you know, just became such a very difficult thing for anybody to do. We need to get them to work so that we can depend less on importation of petroleum products. If we do that, we're going to have a lot of reduction of dependence on foreign currency so that we can channel the foreign currency on some other things like meeting our obligations, our maturing obligations that are all over the place that need to be met. You know, these are things we need to use our monies for, not to be importing fuel, petroleum products.
Okay. Well, the main target behind the whole idea of unification of the the Forex market is to see how there's a point of convergence between the official rate and the parallel market rate. Now, do you see the market adjusting anytime soon with this latest decision by the CBN?
I honestly knew that that convergence was not going to work perfectly because we still do not have enough supply to match the demand of foreign currency. Because as far as the demand is not matching the supply, and vice versa, we are still going to have this kind of price difference or rate difference that we're having even right now. Officially, that convergence has taken place, but unofficially, we know that that is not taking place. Parallel market rate is different from the official rate right now, just because the demand is still pursuing the supply. They're not able to meet. So we need to do everything to ensure that we increase the supply side of the foreign currency in order for us to reduce the pressure. I know, again, one thing we need to do by the time they start interventions, which the CBN governor said is going to do, is to reduce, obviously, the number of the bureau of change we have in the country. We just have to either we reduce it or use some parameters to sieve the very serious ones from others, because such number is impossible for CBN to supervise. Having up to 5,000 bureau of change in the country is an impossible thing for supervision. So we need to reduce that number drastically. I don't think there's any country in the world that has that kind of number to be supervised by one body. Those are the measures we have to take.
Okay, with this decision, the question now is, how does the government intend to protect local industries and businesses in the wake of the new policy change?
Yeah, there are many ways we can protect the local industries. First of all, the major problem of local industry is power and energy. We don't have it, and so many local industries have collapsed just because they don't have power, and even when they have power, it comes to them at a very high cost. Now, alternative to that power is the energy side of it, which is just to purchase diesel and other petroleum products. That, again, is so high. So you see that this is outside the control of the monetary policy and outside the control of merging or banning or not banning for the three items. So we need to deal with many other factors that are affecting the economy. These ones I mentioned are major factors that must be treated and must be dealt with. When we deal with them, we see that a lot of factories are going to start coming up. It's not only about exchange rate that is affecting factories from coming up, because some of those factories can actually source their raw materials from Nigeria and still produce. If we are producing something like, say, cornflakes, we don't need to go outside the country to start bringing in corn or anything to use as raw materials. We can source them locally. But the same man who can source locally cannot actually go and produce, because the energy cost is so high for him to produce competitively compared to those ones that are going to be imported. So we need to deal with them in tranches as they come, and we need to deal with the other causes of this particular problem.
Now, a lot of Nigerians are asking this question: how can Nigeria diversify its sources of foreign exchange beyond oil exports?
I already mentioned one of them. We need to take our solid mineral very seriously.
Solid mineral, yeah.
Yes, we need to take our solid mineral very seriously. Our agricultural sector is such a huge area. We have items in agricultural sector that we are almost the largest producers in the world. We need to start producing more and more in agricultural sector in order to export. I still do not know, and I still keep asking that question, why the mineral sector, solid mineral sector, is not as huge as the oil sector. We have the potentials, we have the minerals. So what we need to do is to open up that particular sector and let us earn heavily from that sector. Some countries like South Africa, it's just the solid minerals that they have. They don't have oil. And so they are one of the largest economies in Africa, and they're using that. We can actually go to that. And then, of course, we know that a lot of things can be done in terms of taking the agricultural items one after the other. And, of course, the other things we have in the country that we have competitive advantage over other countries. Those are the things we can do.
Well, I'm afraid it's like we are running out of time, because there are questions that I would love to ask you, but I believe the conversation will continue maybe for another day. Well, thank you very much, Chijioke Ikechukwu. Thank you for sharing your thought with us, Economic Analyst.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Now, moving on, the federal government has launched the renewed Hope Conditional Cash Transfer Scale-Up Program, which will see 15 million vulnerable Nigerians get 25,000 naira each for 3 consecutive months. President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, flagged off the program to commemorate the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty.
Because you cannot pick this type of money on the road. We are privileged to get this, and it must help us to alleviate poverty in the family.
This money, I would take it to boost my business. Well, I sell accessories, phone accessory, and repair of phone.
Our plans for food security, ending hunger, poverty eradication, economic growth, and job creation are all means by which we shall fight poverty and help the most vulnerable members of our society.
There would be an expansion of this register, which would carry the vulnerable pensioners, the vulnerable veterans, and the wives of fallen heroes, as well as other areas of concern where they were not fully captured. But however, we're starting, and what we're starting with are those who have been verified across all the states in Nigeria.
It's very important. This cash transfers work only if they are robustly delivered and reach the people in need.
So Nigerians can rest assured that this is an efficient and accountable way of providing relief to poor Nigerians.
We're going to collaborate with the agency and the ministry to make sure the people that are meant to benefit from this program are the actual beneficiary of it.
Now let's move to energy. Oil prices surged 2% on Wednesday as tension escalated in the Middle East after hundreds were killed in a blast at a Gaza hospital, sparking concerns about potential oil supply disruptions from the region. Brent crude futures was up 2.4% to $92.07 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude WTI futures were up 1.9% at $88.32 a barrel. Both benchmarks gained more than $2 to touch their highest levels in 2 weeks earlier in the session. Let's now see prices of other commodities. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured key players in the solid mineral sector that the new policies adopted in the sector will ensure that Nigeria maximizes huge potentials in huge mineral deposits in the country to ensure solid mineral sector become a major foreign exchange earner for Nigeria. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, who represented the president at the 8th edition of the Nigeria's Mining Week, made this known by inaugurating the event.
With huge deposits of solid minerals, Nigeria can only boast of the sector generating between 0.23 to 0.65% of the country's GDP over the years. The administration of President Bola Tinubu believes the potentials in the sector can be maximized to generate up to 50% of the nation's GDP. But first, challenges of illegal mining, insecurity, inadequate data must be tackled. The 8th edition of Nigeria's Mining Week is a gathering of investors and other stakeholders in the mining sector as they seek ways to capitalize on Nigeria's critical mineral resources for economic growth.
Mining industry in Nigeria, the present administration has observed the huge losses recorded by the nation through the export of crude mineral commodities, and therefore has evolved a policy of value addition. The policy will ensure that the teeming youth in the country will also be meaningfully absorbed in economic ventures that will empower them.
Minerals belong to the federal government, but the land belongs to the state. So the best way forward is for us to find some line of partnership.
The Minister of Solid Minerals Development has already set an agenda, which include infrastructural development and dedicated mineral corridors.
From drone-based surveying to remote sensing technology, we are actively exploring avenues to modernize our mining practices.
As we gather here today, let us remember the possibilities that are vast and the opportunities are also boundless.
The unveiling of the new Nigeria geological map is an invitation to investors to take advantage of the new business environment. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulue.
Well, that's it. This is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns Thursday. at 9:30 a.m. I'm Musa Bakar. Thanks for your company.
The invention of the telephone by Alexander Graham Bell took customer service to another level. Without telephones, modern businesses could not build quality relationships with their customers. But customer service has evolved beyond just a telephone conversation, as we now have working departments, email support systems, live chat support, self-service content, and even forums. When a client feels unsatisfied with the level of service and goods provided, he seeks the intervention of a customer service representative. Customer service is the assistance and advice provided by a company to those people who buy or use its products or services. Each industry requires different levels and forms of customer service. Patronizing a place of business, one is expectant to get the best. It is assumed that the business place is also prepared to give its customers top standard treatment, so as to keep the customer coming back or recommend the business to potential customers. In order for this to happen, certain qualities must be possessed by staff of its company. Although large businesses have a customer service desk, it is always recommended that all staff possess qualities which include professionalism, patience, and a people-first attitude. With these qualities, the customer service representative uses them to help customers with complaints and questions, give customers information about their products and services, take orders, and process returns. By helping customers understand the product and answering questions about their reservations, they are sometimes seen as having a role in sales or the provision of services.
Making the economy